Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. We're in New York City, and our guest is the President of Iraq, Abdul Latif Jamal Rashid. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
No, thank you.
I want to begin with obviously the situation in Gaza and in the region. There is talk that there could eventually finally be some peace plan put together. Do you have any hope, or do you think the situation is going to continue to get worse for the people of Gaza?
Well, this situation cannot continue forever. Every day slaughtering children, civilians, people without food, without medicine. Obviously, I'm hopeful. I hope it will, this plan and this suggestion, which has been now agreed by 142 countries, will eventually be implemented.
Israel has obviously been waging a war in Gaza, has been striking Lebanon, has been striking Syria, Qatar. How concerned are you that Israel could also target your country?
The concern is there, but I hope not, because already a number of places have been attacked. Lebanon, even Jordan to a certain extent, Gaza continuously, Iran, Yemen, so Syria as well. So this turmoil has been going on for some time. And I think the only solution is to establish peace and stop the fighting.
Obviously, the issue of security in Iraq has also to do with the U.S. troop withdrawal that has been announced for the end of 2026. It has already begun in Baghdad and Anbar province, I understand. How concerned are you that if the U.S. troops withdraw, the security situation in Iraq will get worse?
Well, the U.S. security in Iraq is by agreement by Iraqi. It's a mutual understanding between the United States and Iraqi government. And if they stay or remain, and if they leave, it has to be by agreement by two sides. The number of troops, U.S. troops in Iraq is much less than what it was. We are grateful for American help and American presence, especially the troops in fighting terrorism, in fighting outlaws for a long period of time. But probably now we have reached a stage, I think we don't need multinational forces or American forces for a long period of time. And this is really up to the two sides to decide when to leave and when to withdraw.
But some Iraqi politicians or security officials are concerned that if the U.S. troops withdrew, like they did a decade or so ago, groups like ISIS or other could re-emerge, take advantage of the void.
Well, you don't have to listen to every politician. This is
What
the
is
decision,
your opinion?
My opinion is the decision by the two governments.
Yes, but Daesh could return.
At this stage, no.
Why
I
not?
think because Daesh has been defeated badly, and all our borders are controlled, and we are observing the movement of any terrorist organization in the area.
Speaking of people who were captured at the time, there is the issue of people who were arrested and kept in Syria, especially the Al-Hol camp. I understand Iraq has been taking back many of the people. Now there's a whole movement, including some foreigners, including very recently 47 French citizens. Why is Iraq doing this, and why do you take foreigners back in Iraq and not send them to their own
No,
country?
you are quite right. We have taken serious actions to really limit the number of the people in whole prison. We have taken all the Iraqis, their families, and all the Iraqis back to Iraq.
They're all back now.
Yeah, all the Iraqis are back. What is left there, either some of them are from outside Iraq, and including European countries, like you mentioned, France. We are appealing to those people to take them back. And if we are taking some It has been a request of either your government, French government, or understanding with the Iraqi government for a limited period of time. It's not for definite. Probably their conditions were changed regarding the health, the accommodations. So certain decisions are taken about the prisoners. It depends on the circumstances. But eventually, we are trying to close that camp, because the camp, if it remains on the border, is a serious threat to both countries, to Syria and to Iraq, maybe even to Turkey.
Speaking of Turkey, there was a big development. The PKK group has agreed to disarm, to disband. Much of their militaries were working from northern Iraq. How important is this, and is the disarmament actually going on Iraqi soil?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, this has been taken, and I think that's a very positive development by Turkey as regard to PKK. I'm sure everybody knows what PKK stands for, and with the PKK has decided to lay arms, and they are expecting some more development regarding legislations for going back to Turkey and the conditions that are going back to Turkey. But this is all positive, and I think the situation has improved a lot, and both sides, as far as I hear and as far as we are observing, are optimistic about the outcome.
There was the short war between Israel and Iran with the involvement at the end of the United States. Do you fear that this could happen again? European countries have said they want sanctions back on Iran because of its nuclear program.
Well, I hope not. And we do hear statements by Iranian governments that they are not interested in nuclear arms or nuclear military development. Even yesterday, the president stated at the UN. I hope not. But that was an attack, military attack, or actually bombing by United States and Israel on Iranian nuclear facilities. We hope not. And what we hear that from the news, I mean, nobody can predict what Israeli government do these days. No one can predict. But from what we heard, the situation is quiet.
I want to get to more the political situation in Iraq. There is the issue of the Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF, the militias, as they're sometimes described. There was supposed to be a law to make them more formally part of the state. This was withdrawn because of U.S. pressure. Do you regret that this law has not been passed? And you believe that they are, as the U.S. say, a problem, a destabilizing force for your country?
It is not a militia force. It's part of Iraqi security force. And they were established to fight Daesh, terror. And it has remained to fight terror if they exist again. Regarding the law, I think one of the main reasons was withdrawn because we have declared we are going to parliament, an election. We didn't want any decision to affect the parliamentary procedure because our election is in November, and that was declared only a short while ago. So I think we need a law either to keep it as a one unit or to include it within the Iraqi army.
But you know that the U.S. was against this because they considered that they're not part of Iraq's security apparatus, that they are pro-Iranian groups that are destabilizing Iraq on behalf of Tehran.
Some of these are comments.
You disagree with that?
Because it is part of Iraqi security forces. We have security forces similar to Iraqi army, similar to Peshmerga, which is part of Iraqi security forces.
Speaking of Peshmerga, there have been tensions for many years, including recently between the Kurdistan regional government and the central government in Baghdad, disputes over the payment of salaries of civil servants, over the possibility to export oil from Kurdistan to Turkey. There have been negotiations. Are the problems between Erbil and Baghdad about to be solved once and for all?
Well, I don't call it tension. I call it sometimes
disagreements.
Kurdistan regional government is part of Iraqi Republic, and the federal government is continuously in touch and in talk and dialogue, whether you call it negotiation or just dialogue, with the KRG and the central government. But I have some good news for you. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, they reached a final decision to export oil. And I'm sure by exporting oil and the pipelines, if they deliver oil, then the problem with the salaries and with the financial situations for KRG can be easily solved.
Last question, Mr. President. You mentioned elections. They are around the corner, just a few weeks away. Do you believe that there will be free and fair elections? And what is your response to some parties that have said, we are not going to the election, we're going to boycott the election because we don't trust it?
Not many parties. Maybe some, you have heard it from some individuals. Yeah, I agree with you. But really, majority of the population have accepted to go for election, and we are making sure that this election is fair, democratic, and observed by a number of organizations. And it's my duty to make sure that the election is going to be fair and clean and democratic on the time which we have decided to have election.
Mr. President, thank you very much for being our guest here on France 24. And thank you for watching this edition of Tête à Tête from New York City.